Disney's 2010 animation film Tangled was directed by Nathan Greeno and Brian Howard. Tangled is the first Disney princess film done in CGI animation based on the tale of Rapunzel. The film masterfully uses the 12 principles of animation to tell a different story about breaking free, finding meaning and connection by discovering who you truly are. Truly remarkable animation can be seen in Tangled as characters look and feel real, and their hopes and dreams really translate through the screen. Tangled is full of excitement, suspense, and just enough suspension of belief that a princess can jump, swing, and even cartwheel with 70 feet length of hair. Tangled's animation challenges would result in breakthrough innovations in CGI technologies for its time, in hair grooming software that we now see in famous films like Frozen and as recent as Encanto. The story of Tangled is set in the kingdom of Corona. An evil witch by the name of Gothel kidnaps the princess Rapunzel in order to use her hair healing properties to keep herself young. Our main protagonist, Rapunzel, is a bright and energetic 17-year-old, and for the past 17 years she has been locked away in a tower with only a chameleon companion, Pascal, to keep her company. Unaware she's a prisoner, Rapunzel believes Gothel is her mother, and is only locked away to protect her from those who would want to steal her hair. It is not until a fateful day a runaway thief by the name of Flynn Rider happens to steal the crown that belongs to the lost princess, and while running away from the law, Flynn stumbles across Rapunzel's tower. What are the chances, right? Desperate to escape with his prize, Flynn Rider scales the tower and breaks into Rapunzel's home. Rapunzel, terrified of the intruder, knocks him out, ties him up, and shoves him in her closet. This is when Rapunzel comes up with the idea to show the unconscious ruffian to her mother Gothel, as she desires to leave her tower to see the floating lanterns that appear only on her birthday. She believes if she can prove to Mother Gothel she is strong enough to go outside, she might allow her to go see the lanterns. Since Rapunzel isn't aware that Mother Gothel will never set her free, Flynn Rider may be her only ticket to freedom. In this scene, when Flynn Rider breaks into Rapunzel's tower, multiple principles are used in conjunction with each other. Firstly, staging can be seen used as Flynn enters the scene with the camera behind Flynn's back, dolling slightly forward to the right to reveal the subject's line of sight being the tower. This helps to create a dynamic composition and create depth between the space of the subject and the landscape. Staging is used again here with dynamic angles to focus the audience's attention through the scene. Flynn stays on the left and Rapunzel stays on the right until there's a neutral scene to keep the level of consistency for the audience to follow. The next principle is exaggeration, seen here when Flynn takes a breath. Exaggeration is used to convey his level of exhaustion from scaling the tower. This is then followed by secondary action of him pulling his satchel towards himself to revel in his prize. The secondary action is to further push the characteristics of the character. In Flynn's case, his secondary action conveys his desire for the crown's worth. The next principle is after Rapunzel knocks Flynn out with a frying pan. Anticipation and timing is used to show Rapunzel's action of running away before it occurs. This principle is coupled with overlapping action as Rapunzel's hair remains for a couple of frames as she moves out of the scene. Follow-through and overlapping action describes different flows of motion that occur. Follow-through describes specifically when an action creates enough momentum that it passes the original motion before returning to its original position. Overlapping action describes when different parts of an object move at a different rate than in unison. They are used to create movement that convey realism, weight, and in the case of Rapunzel's hair, visual appeal. Follow-through and overlapping action are used in all, if not most, of Rapunzel's movements. As you can see in these actions here, her hair is constantly dragging, catching up to her movements, passing them, and then returning to her natural position. There is a great deal of attention to detail in the visual appeal of Rapunzel's character and how her hair moves in scenes. Animators had to follow a hair Bible when animating Rapunzel, one of them being that Rapunzel's hair could never fall in anything resembling a straight line. These sorts of rules are there to keep a visual style to Rapunzel's appearance throughout the film. The principle of timing refers to the amount of frames used to show the pace or rhythm of an action. In the case of this scene, they used it for comedic effect. First when Flynn falls in slow motion, then in the montage of Flynn in Rapunzel's closet, and lastly when Pascal shakes his head at Rapunzel's reflection in the mirror. The next principle used are arcs, a non-linear motion used in Tangled to create movement that looks natural and thus believable. This principle is paired with slow in and out, as the object's motion path will have a natural acceleration and deceleration in most character movements. A good example is the frying pan spinning in arcs. You can see subtly the slow in and out when she throws and catches her pan, then again as her arm moves in a slow in and out the right before spinning the pan in an arc sequence before it contacts with her head. For pose to pose and straight ahead, because of the nature of the scene and based on the example of the animator's pipeline, pose to pose is more likely to have been used where key frames are established first, with the exception that possibly Rapunzel's hair has some straight ahead animation to create fluidity in its movement. Here, squash and stretch is used to help convey weight, mass, speed, and momentum. It can also be used for facial expressions of a character to exaggerate their emotions. Squash and stretch can be seen here when Rapunzel is jumping. As she falls, her body stretches for a couple of frames before flattening down only slightly as she is a solid form, then something squishier like a bouncing ball. The characters follow the solid drawing method in any scene. Different angles are used to convey the characters to possess space and weight in a three-dimensional environment. This helps to create a sense of realism in the characters that they are living, breathing, and thinking beings. In summary, Tangled is a Disney classic, and for good reason, as the animator's excellent use of the 12 principles of animation enhanced the storytelling and breathed life into a beloved classic tale for generations to enjoy.